that based on fear. I think that sometimes parents or families can try to keep us small because they feel like it's keeping us safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so, even though the families very much love her, do you think that that's part of like what they're depicting? Is that families can, because they only view you one way, right? They only view the way that they know. They don't, I think it's sometimes, depending on the parent, it's hard to view you of what you can become.
Hi, I'm Cade,
And I'm Kit,
and we're real people.
doing real reviews. And we are continuing on our season 3. And we are talking about the theme of love triangles. This is a continuation of Stories That Stick, which is our perspective on the films that have shaped our viewpoint on cinema. This week is Cade's pick. What did you choose?
All right, I know. I already know.
You already, what do you,
Well,
oh,
I know because I watched it with you, but I picked Twilight.
he picked Twilight.
Yes. Well, who doesn't like a fantasy vampire movie? Well, I guess never mind. We'll
I'm,
we'll hear we'll hear about that here in a minute.
I have different fantasies, I think. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
What made you choose this movie?
for one, I think the obviously the overarching theme of the love triangle made sense. However,
Mm-hmm.
for the first movie that we watched in this season, we don't really get into that actual love triangle between um Edward and oh god, I don't even know his other name.
Edward Jacob.
Jacob. Yes, Edward and Jacob.
It is an iconic, though, statement like that. Like, we know this is a triangle, right? Like, it's in
Yes.
pop culture, this is very known, right? So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this movie one launched like a series of 5 movies.
Yeah.
Really cool from that standpoint. However, I think for this one, I chose this movie because really the love triangle is with the main character and the life that she currently has and loves to this life that she could have and the unknown behind it.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, obviously, is a bit more artsy, probably the most artsy that you're probably going to get from me comparatively to you. But I would say that's why I picked this movie because it's a little, obviously, it's on the nose if you watch the full kind of trilogy of movies. However, I think specifically for this one, it's it's a bit kind of a side quest story that
Yeah.
goes along there.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's true. Because she is trying to, like, navigate what's best, right? What's best
Yeah.
for her in her life, and she has different choices. She has the choice between, like, her mom and her dad and, like, this, the space where she is, and so that's true. Um, the So the summary of the film is that the lead gal, played by Kristen Stewart, is relocating to a little town that she has spent time for before. Her parents are divorced, and the mom is like happily remarried and
Yes.
good.
In
And
Arizona.
yeah,
And then she's moving to Forks, Washington.
it rains a lot there. Yeah,
Yes,
mhm,
as it does on the West Coast up
yeah,
in that area. And, yeah, so it's obviously a new town, kind of that same kind of, aspect. I remember kind of moving, as well and kind of that first day kinda jitters as far as the new school, new kind of everything,
yeah. She's in high
eh,
school.
in high school and
Hmm.
trying to navigate what that's like as a teenager.
Yeah,
So she's kind of fumbling around, meeting people.
yeah. She's very well received. She is. And if you've read the books, I know that the way that they describe her in the books is that she is like so exquisite. Like she is unbelievably beautiful. And so people obviously are like receiving like this beautiful new girl and so what's interesting about Kristen Stewart's interpretation of this character, she's like playing it is that she plays it with a lot of like insecurity and humility. And but she's being received like, hey, 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 like everybody's trying to find an excuse to like
Talk to her.
hit her with
Yeah.
a ball and come over and chat and I can see that you can see that the girls at the school are trying to not take her as a threat and try to find like a way to connect with her. And so it's like, yeah, it's interesting. So she goes to the school. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
obviously that happens. Then she's like, "Who are these people?" And, the rest of the kids are like, "Oh,
Those are the Cullens.
the Cullens, they're the
Mhm.
ones that live outside the city. Their dad's a doctor, and, no one really knows." So they already have, like, this clout of, like,
Be a little bit mysterious and
mis
fancy.
yeah,
Mhm.
mysterious and fancy for sure.
Mhm. Um, it's an interesting movie because, of course, it's not revealed that this guy, Edward, is a vampire. So he's just behaving in these very bizarre ways. Like really think of like this girl, she like goes to sit next to him. And it's shown that like he's really struggling with how she smells because of course he's a vampire and she's like attempting his like vampire side, but he's just like breathing to himself in this very disturbed manner. And she's just like, okay,
Yeah.
but this is kind of weird. And then the other boy, Jacob, which is the son of a friend of the family, friend of her dad. He lives on the reserve and has an Aboriginal background and doesn't go to the school, but kind of touches base with her. And he again, it's not revealed anything about him, but he knows that there's like folklore about the Cullens and folklore about his kind and why they don't like kind of interact with each other. And so they like Edward said no to like going to like a beach party and things like that. And it was because of this territory. So you're also kind of like, what? This is so strange. And she's just like this new girl in a school being like, okay, everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna do my math homework. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Like, I just wanna go home and not really talk to anyone.
Yeah.
But back to that scene as far as in the classroom, like,
Mhm.
I think that was a really good kind of display as far as
Mhm.
no talking and, like, that, like,
Tense.
tense feeling, like, you obviously
Mhm.
she's like, "Do I stink? Like, what's going on?" Because
Mhm.
of the way he's just acting, and I think that's, like, a really cool. I wonder how many takes they had to do of that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because he's just like, oh, like, and she's just like, what?
Yeah,
What?
and then he storms off. Yeah.
Yeah, he like can't wait for the bell to ring, leaves school for a few days. He's just like, ugh, I can't wait. And then he comes back and he's like, I want to apologize. My name is this. And then she catches him trying to transfer classes. And they're like, no, you have to stay there. And he's like, ugh, my lab partner. And then she's like, what the heck?
Yes,
But
definitely.
yeah, I do like how they kind of showed the relationship growing. I think that
Mhm.
he was like, you caught me on a weird day and like, kind of slowly started to grow. And he came to this like after not going to that beach party that he was invited to, he kind of she was leaving, she had gone dress shopping with some girls, left them to go get a book, and as she was walking, she was kind of surrounded and was being catcalled by some guys, and Edward came out of nowhere and kind of was like, "I'm gonna take you on a date," and it kind of moved forward from there, and so
Mm.
the friends were like, "Oh, how interesting, like, we've never seen him take interest in somebody before," and so that's kind of supported by, like, her
Yeah.
relationships around her, which is cool, and, so you get to see it kind of grow, and then, she is almost hit by a vehicle, who that hydroplanes on, the parking lot, and he stops the vehicle, dents it in with his hand, and, was across the parking lot. She's like, "Something's up." She starts putting things together with this book. She starts looking online, and she's like, "His hand was really cold, and he stopped this vehicle, and he's really fast." And,
Yeah.
like, slowly, she's like, "You're a vampire. I can tell."
Well, I like that she leans in, like, the whole movie as far as, like,
Mm.
"You're telling me no or but I'm gonna keep going because
Mhm.
it's what I wanna do."
Mhm.
As well as I think, like, this movie is kind of that, up and coming. I think when it did come out, I was a teenager as well.
Yeah.
So, like, it really kind of
Played into
what
that angst.
yeah,
Mm.
played into kind of even, like, the clickiness of everything.
Mhm.
Could there could be something more,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
The
like
world's your oyster, it's kinda just starting to open up. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
and you have to push forward and kind of make decisions based on what feels very good and not allow somebody based sort of like fear or skepticism or saying that they're not good for you when you haven't gotten a chance to know the full story to make those decisions, which
Yeah.
I agree. Um, and I thought the elevation was interesting. I thought there were things about him that were so disturbing. Like, he used to watch her sleeping and because he doesn't sleep because he's immortal. And she's like, "So you just watch me sleep?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, Like, all the time? Like, what? And, he's like, yeah. She's like, all right, that's cool. I think it's fine. And, just kind of some things that I'm like, it is because he's not really hiding that he is like this very bizarre like person, like dealing with things,
Yeah.
even showing like how he's scary and how and I think it was really known at that time, especially when they were talking about vampires, that they were designed to be alluring. They're designed to be captivating. They're designed for you to be, easily seduced so that they can eat you, right? And so
Mm.
him being like, beautiful and smelling good and like all these enticing things is by design for, a terrible thing, which is great.
Yeah,
Um,
like a monster.
yes, and I thought that it was interesting that they didn't go too far. That the choice that they made in making a vampire was that they just made them like fit and beautiful and a little bit tortured, a little bit. Like there's something about them that is like chaotic inside, and they're trying to contain their chaos. And I think that all of them play it out. Like it's not easy
Yeah.
to be living in this
A
normal
bit,
pleasure.
like, restrained,
Mhm.
caged a bit,
Mhm.
like, they're, like, that piece of themselves is,
Yeah.
withheld or
Yeah.
kind of leashed.
Because they wanna find a way to behave in society and to live, like, because 'cause they're gonna be hundreds of years old, like, how can we actually interact with society in a way that we're not causing question marks? So,
Mhm.
um, yeah. Did you think that, when you think about the movie, like, your takeaways from, like, seeing the love triangle and maybe your takeaways from the movie, like, where did you land with that? The things that stood out to you?
Well, I think, in this one specifically, I think they did a good job of kinda moving through all of that quite quickly,
Mhm.
in the first one, as well as they had, like, a bit of, like, danger and scare as well as, like,
Yeah, the other
um
vampires coming in.
yeah, the other vampires coming in and, like, what the danger that she could be in. She did get hurt
Mhm.
at the end, um, of that, and yet she still leaned in,
Mhm.
with that. So I think, like, from my standpoint, um, this movie obviously is looking back, there is probably better love triangle movies out there. However,
Can you think of one?
no,
Maybe
no.
not even.
You told me, and this is the first one that came to my mind. However, I think in the love is love. Um, I think the really though for this one, I think it's a cool kind of concept that
Mhm.
in this movie alone, she's really faced with a choice as far as do I continue and leave everything that I know for the unknown,
Mm,
um, or do I stay and almost kinda stay small
mhm.
and kinda have blinders on in what her current life is.
Yeah.
So so for me, I would say, like, this one definitely is kind of a bit artsy in terms of love triangle, obviously, the bigger story. There's
Mhm,
an actual love triangle, but we don't really know about that in this first movie.
mhm.
Um, but I would say that's kind of where I sat with it, and I think that that theme kind of still holds true
Yeah.
even today with people as
Yeah.
far as, do you stay consistent with your day to day or do you take kind of that next kind of leap into the unknown to potentially make yourself better or even give yourself a chance?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that especially at high school, college, right? Where you're like, I can do what's safe and good, or I can do what maybe feels right and use my intuition, even though maybe it seems dangerous, or
Hmm.
I'm being told not to, or there's overlap with like, even with the story, like there's overlap with her family because there's, when vampires that are not, holding back on their feeding habits, kinda come through that, like, her dad's a police officer and trying to navigate that, right?
Sure.
But there's, like, these obstacles, and so, yeah, I think that there is something where you have to be like, "Hey, if I choose myself, I may, put other people, in a situation where they're not happy or can't brag about me or kind of, whatever the case is." And so, yeah, I think that's something that lots of people go to. Also, it's a little bit esoteric when nobody knows what it's like to be a vampire. There's no way you can research it all you want, but, like,
Right.
living the experience that's a different like that's not normal. So, choosing not just, like, unknown, like, who sees, like, maybe I'll choose to be a filmmaker instead of being an accountant. It's not like that kind of choice, right? It's like, but
Like, the ultimate choice
like,
as
yeah.
far as, like yeah.
Mhm. How you live your life and who you are and how you
Well,
identify. Mhm.
even the theme as far as, like, choosing between your family
Mhm.
or something else
Yeah.
is kinda that theme and why I think it kinda landed so big
Mhm.
during the time that it did,
Mhm.
even for us, because obviously
Mhm.
we were teens
Mhm.
in the midst of that, so it's like a lot
Yeah.
going on for sure.
That's actually a really good point because would you say that based on fear, I think that sometimes parents or families can try to keep us small because they feel like it's keeping us safe.
Mhm.
Like, and so, even though the families very much love her, do you think that that's part of like what they're depicting? Is that families can, because they only view you one way, right? They only view the way that they know. They don't, I think it's sometimes, depending on the parent, it's hard to view you of what you can become outside of like, especially if it's something that they don't know or haven't experienced. And so,
True.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even in that standpoint, like, she's thinking about becoming something that she's never thought of either, so I think
Hmm.
it's a very cool
Yeah.
kinda concept as far as
Hmm.
why I picked this cheesy film for you to watch.
Please comment your love triangle choices below. What did you do you remember what you rated it?
I did.
Mhm.
I
You have it.
I rated it a 7
Okay. Yeah.
for those reasons. I think, like, it is kind of a cool like, there is a lot of deeper kind of obviously, the storyline is very much a teen kind of drama, but I think there's a lot of underlying kind of items there.
Mhm.
Um, as well as I mean, I rated it a 7 because I can still throw on the whole series in the background,
Yeah.
and it's, like, easy watching.
Mhm.
You don't really have to think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you rate it? I'm scared.
I
Well, I already know based on that face.
I did. I rated it a 4.
Mhm.
I thought really great performances, especially by Anna Kendrick in the best friend role. I thought Kristen Stewart did a really great job of, like I said, depicting that kind of teenager that's like questioning herself a lot,
Yeah.
but still making choices, kind of bolder choices. I think that's not an easy role to play. And so I think the way that she plays it is really impressive. And then also putting like, yeah, teenage angst and insecurity and those types of things. I just thought she really did a great job. I thought the story does have beginning, middle, end.
Mhm.
I thought that the characters that were like the B and C characters mattered to the story. So I think it does a great job there. Like the dad matters. The like the Cullens dad matters. Like
Right.
everybody is kind of in this space where they're, you know what I mean, helping. Um, instead of it just being like silly. Do you know what I mean? Like light characters. And then we again and we know that there's a series because of the books, but, like, if you didn't, you'd be like, "Oh, it's like
It's still
I'm
good.
interested in, like, these other characters being more played out and moving it forward," and so those are the reasons for the 4. Where it didn't land for me was a little bit of the spacing or timing of how they decide to go about the journey, and, I thought that it could have been darker. I thought they it could have put it more. You are saying the right things about being like, it was meant to be a teenage drama, and,
So it is
like,
classified as a teenage drama.
"Oh, look at we're even now, because I did one to you." Um, but I think that that was the thing because even when she's researching, I thought that even the scene where she's, like, realizing, like, "Oh, they're the cold ones, or the this," I thought that that scene could have had a lot more to it, or a little bit of the fear and her being like, "I don't care, like, I wanna move it forward." There were some parts where I thought it was a bit flat
Mm,
for I thought there wasn't enough time for, like, love to maybe be there for that choice. Curiosity, like you saying curiosity, interest, choosing yourself, those types of things. I'm like, okay, yeah, that actually lands
mhm.
more for me, you saying that. But watching the film, I'm like, it would take a lot more for me to be like, should I get around some vampires than like, a couple dates and meeting the family? Do you know what I mean? For me. Like, so I think
Fair.
that's where the spacing
Okay.
for me needed more.
Needed more.
Yeah.
Well, the movie couldn't be 6 hours long. I think they did a good job in the
In that
time frame.
timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you could cut it into different movies, make somebody watch them. Stay tuned for when we talk about that.
Yeah, so I do hear you. I think that, yeah, absolutely, they could have made scenes longer,
Mhm.
and who knows, maybe some of the scenes were longer and then they cut it to make that complete story, but it was a complete story as well as I think there really was no kind of question about anything.
Yeah.
You were just like, "Okay, I
Yep.
accept that."
Y
Moving,
yeah, the information
the
came in.
information all actually made sense. I mean, we are talking about vampires, and we all accepted it. It wasn't like it came out of left field. We were just like, "Yep,"
Yeah. Again, the acting, like the
you know,
tormented cage, tense, inner battle acting was definitely there across the board, which I think does make it believable. So that, like, to me, when I think about the 4 points, it's like I believe the characters for sure. Yeah.
just didn't like,
You know? Like, it's not maybe I just
okay,
different. I mean, all right. Um, but yeah, also, though it was interesting to watch it because it's not something that I've watched since it came out.
true.
And so to take that amount of time and just, like, watch it as, like, an adult on, like, what was the what were we trying to say and, like, what was the story, like, really interesting to rewatch it, and so, yeah, like, I almost would be open to continuing the series just to see, like,
Well,
my
you gotta remember,
thoughts.
like, this whole series came out and, like, there was merch, there was whole watching parties, like, everyone was talking about the next movie.
Yeah,
They even did a really cool kind of rollout where it was, like, every 2 years, they rolled out the next one.
yeah, the
Uh,
books were,
you
like,
know
flying off the shelves, like, live readings were happening. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think, for the first one in that, it landed quite well and was received quite well that
yeah,
then they just built on it. I would say probably if I looked at them as a whole, there was probably other movies that probably did things better in that series, but you also had the backstory
from this one.
from this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, like, creatively, they did an
Yeah,
excellent job,
for
and
sure.
and it was so interesting at that time to see a vampire movie that wasn't, like, a front to back, like, "And then the vampire murdered everybody at the end." You know what I mean? And so I
Absolutely.
thought that was interesting too, like, "Do they live among us?" as a tone, really interesting. So,
Yeah.
yeah, those are my thoughts.
A
Okay.
as well as I would say one more point to that, like, obviously for our theme of love triangle, obviously I would have picked a later in the series
Mhm.
one
But it's
to be on the
necessary.
nose,
Yeah.
but I thought this one, just in terms of kind of a deeper kind of tone, theme,
Yeah.
as far as that love triangle, really where it's a
Yeah.
inner kinda thing that really didn't actually have to deal with anyone else or an actual love of
Mm,
someone or something. It was really that internal struggle that she's really kind of fighting
I love
through
life.
in that story.
Yeah, I really
So,
like your take on that. We're learning so much about each other in this series and how we're looking at it. If you want to watch more and you're watching from our broadcast channel, then just stay tuned. The next one is coming up. And if you are listening via podcast, you can listen to us anywhere where you can find a podcast on Apple and Spotify. And of course, you can also find us on socials.
yes, at Cade Kit.
That's on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and across the board. Thanks for being here with us. Love to hear your favorite love triangle in the comments below.
Bye, guys.